Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to Nina's Chelsea Corner. If you're new round here, I am smiling, but I'm not necessarily happy because Chelsea lost another match 3-1 to Brighton, once again down to 10 men and completely throwing the game out the window. This time we were in the lead and I thought that Enzo Maresca's approach would be maybe quite different and would have learnt from his mistakes last weekend at Old Trafford. That wasn't the case. Instead, we absolutely rinsed and repeated the same style of substitutions in the same fearful manner, and we absolutely fed into Brighton's game, gave them the encouragement, gave them the confidence to go and score 3 goals and absolutely capitulate at Stamford Bridge. I mean, I'm lost for words because I thought this was going to be a positive game. It was going to be a positive response. We've had a couple weeks filled with difficulties, defeats in the Champions League, in the Premier League, a difficult grind out of a result against Lincoln in the Cup earlier this week. So I thought we just needed a big win, a bold win at home in front of the home fans to get us going into a little bit of a brighter spirit when you've got Benfica and Liverpool waiting around the corner next week. But that's not the case. It's exactly the opposite. And once again, we're left in this position of a bit of despair, to be honest with you. There's been a big reaction. And I understand it, I hear it, I honestly hear it, because there's so much to talk about here and there's so much to question at this stage, and this has certainly been a subpar start to the season by any means. World champions or not, Chelsea needed to come into the season with a better record than we have, and it's simply unacceptable to have dropped the points we did, particularly when you look at the teams we faced. They're for the taking. Man United and Brighton haven't picked up points. Brighton picked up their first away points at Stamford Bridge, and that's what we do. Teams see the weaknesses that we expose ourselves. It's almost like we point to them during the games and they just come at us, and Brighton looked like a whole different side after our red card, and not because we were a man down, but because of the way we set up. So we're going to talk about it because there is a lot. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Please hit the subscribe button and like the video. It really helps the channel out. Let me know your thoughts, how you're feeling. Are you a little bit less angry now that you've had a night to sleep on it, or are you just the same? Are you just thinking, what on earth was that, Chelsea? But yeah, I headed down to Stamford Bridge with my dad in good spirits. We were sort of joking on the train and I said, you know what, I feel like Chelsea will either win 2-1 today or we'll lose 3-1. Don't know where that came from, but dad said, so you're giving them a bigger chance? I said, yeah, I just don't know. I had no kind of confidence going into it, not because we're not good enough, but because we just seem to be self-inflicting a lot of our errors and moments this season, and we've seen it time and time again. That was another self-inflicted defeat, and that is exactly why it hurts as much, and that is exactly why it's unacceptable, because we're not getting outplayed, outclassed, blown out the park. We're simply doing it to ourselves. So let's sort of rewind to the start and look at the lineup and how we set up. I didn't really have any issues because I thought going into this game, we are short of defenders, we are thin on the ground, so Maresca isn't exactly spoiled for choice with what he can put out. So set up pretty much as expected. Maybe a few were surprised to not see Josh start. Hato did, and I'm just thinking he probably wanted to build his minutes because he is going to be playing a lot more with the injuries that we now have out. Santos obviously starting again was perhaps a welcome start for him, because we're going to have to see a lot more of him as well, and I think with Lavia being back, that's potentially a good thing. We have those choices, but if we can't quite work out how they all fit in together, then it is again a gaping hole there that Maresca has to figure out. No Cole Palmer, of course. Now we know it's going to be weeks, rather maybe even a month or more, that Cole Palmer's going to be out, and we're going to miss him. We are going to miss him, aren't we? And not just because of what he offers, but he seems to be the only player that's quite comfortable in his own skin, even when adversity happens, even when things are going wrong. He never second guesses himself. He just plays his game. Honestly, in moments like yesterday, we just really miss that. So yeah, Joao Pedro, of course, starting. Esteval, really lovely to see him start. No starts for Gittins or Garnacho either, so that's a food for thought there. Maresca sending out a very clear message about how much he favours them two. Pedro Neto, of course, yeah, that's pretty much our lineup. So I think going into it, again, nobody's looking at that lineup thinking we're going to lose to Brighton today with this lineup. No, Brighton have struggled. Their only win against Premier League opposition has come against Manchester City, which in itself is good, an achievement. They've added Chelsea to the list, but in no way a means to believe that you're going to lose the game. And the way we start is bright. We are certainly in control and we are trying to apply some pressure. At times I thought maybe there was a bit too much passing around that I would have liked. And actually now, second half aside, if I hadn't even watched the second half, I would have told you that in the first half, the last 15 minutes, we should have done more. We should have gone for that second goal. At times it looked like we were just ready for the half-time whistle to blow so we could just go in for a quick break. And when you're 1-0 up, you're not comfortable. You're not comfortable, Chelsea. You need to go in for another, especially when you're the team in control, pulling the strings. You're supposed to go in for another. Now, first half aside, because it's been tarnished by a very, we'll talk about the goal, obviously, Enzo Fernandez on the end of a brilliant cross from Reece James, who was, I think, pretty good. Superb delivery, Enzo Fernandez on the end of it, and knee slides in front of the Brighton end. Nobody is thinking that we lose that game 3-1 at that point. But hey, then the second half arrives and again, we come out pretty much still looking like we're the team in control, and as soon as we start to make some mistakes, it's like the players just lose their concentration and their focus, and that is where you see a huge error. It was from Andre Santos, who puts Trevor Chalobah under pressure and he goes in for what is obviously a bright as day, clear as day red card, and miles away. Didn't even go for a tackle, to be honest. Like, what was he thinking? But it's disappointing because red card aside, it's the decision making in isolation that's a problem. First, if you want to spotlight Santos's decisions in that moment, and then how Chalobah deals with the repercussions of his teammates' decisions, and that is a pattern we're seeing. It's like thinking on the spot, those split-second decisions that need to be better are not, and they are proving to fail us in the long term. So it's certainly not good enough. I thought, oh, Chalobah's got a new hairstyle. Maybe we see a completely new Chalobah. No, gets himself sent right off like Robert Sanchez last weekend. So 2 red cards in 2 games is a cause for concern in itself, because let's not normalise this is fine, because again, it's individual errors and also collective errors. I don't want to just pinpoint those individuals for their reds, because it's the players around them as well that made those decisions. It's simply not good enough. And then, fine, you can continue on from that because you have to. And frankly, it's not like we have 5 minutes to go, Enzo Maresca, that you want to defend this 1-0 lead. No, there was still like, what, half an hour, maybe even longer than that actually. Yeah, longer than that, wasn't it, around the 53rd or so minute? And you basically have a whole second half to play and you decide that it's time to fear Brighton. It is time to, like Man United, just say, yep, no, there's no chance. What is it with Enzo Maresca and a red card that makes him believe the game is done and dusted? Can someone please explain to him, I don't know what PTSD he has, that it is still possible to win or get a result when you've got a red card? If you're a team that has some self-esteem, that's got the quality, mind you, on the bench, not like we have nobody to turn to, 4 attackers sat there on the bench, yearning to come on, at least get a look in, none of them make it on. None of them. And guess what, guys? It's a rinse and repeat. Maresca is literally showing everybody what his game plan is when this happens, because he's now done it in 2 games. He brings on 3 defenders and a midfielder. Not a single attacking player makes it on with still 40 or so minutes to play when we look like the better team. So what are you doing by that? You're doing 2 things. One, you're sending out a message to the players that they're not good enough to win this game or get a result, because you're hindering their confidence. You're leaving them with no support. João Pedro's up there with no wingers, no attacking players, no creative outlets there to help him, and he's just left there to dry. And you're basically saying to the players, and that's how I interpret it, that they're not good enough to get a result there. They're not good enough to go out there. They don't have the confidence to go out there and still get a result, potentially getting a second. But you can't, because when you don't have any attacking players, as we didn't against Man United, what are you supposed to do? And then wait, I was going to say a second point of what that shows me. But yeah, second point is that Maresca is fearful and he doesn't believe in the team. Pretty much could attach it to the first point. But it is simply unacceptable, and you could say, okay, for one game, he's going to learn, but to go and repeat it literally the second game is just beyond me. So really disappointing on that note. Mismanagement again, big question mark. So of course he's going to be the biggest talking point. And yeah, of course we can bring in the fact that he did want a centre back and all those other factors that we side with him on, but that's not relevant, because the specific moment when you have to make these decisions as manager, it's not right. It is really not right. And I was actually really happy to see that Esteval stayed on. He wasn't the first substitute, but guess what? He was the second substitute. So what difference does it make when arguably you have a player there that keeps the fans off the edge of their seat because he's so exciting to watch? You're getting the reaction you need from your home crowd. You bring him off. The spark comes off. Well, what would you like to do? And this is the thing, I thought us home fans, we were great yesterday, guys. I'll tell you that for one thing. Obviously, even up until the moment Chalobah got sent off, we were still getting behind the players. Everyone was still cheerful. We didn't let the heads drop. And we hoped that would be translated onto the pitch. But I think Maresca was just, like I said in my fan cam on Chelsea Fan TV, looked like he was working against us. But it's just not what you want to see. Absolutely not what you want to see. And I said I don't want to lower my standards because frankly we shouldn't. We have enough quality there and Maresca is just not utilising it in the best possible way. So fine, you can not be a fan of Gittins and Garnacho. Maybe they weren't your wingers, maybe that's fine. But it doesn't mean you can't even try them, because you won't know until you try. So that is exactly where Maresca needs to have a bit of a reflection, because it isn't good enough. So let's talk about Brighton's goals, because they were all again pretty much errors on our behalf and sloppy defending. So Maresca's bringing on defenders, yet we're losing 3-1. That is what I can't fathom. I actually can't. But Danny Welbeck, of course, who else but Danny Welbeck? I think I could tell you, we could all probably have said it from a mile away. Danny Welbeck scoring against Chelsea. I feel like he's going to be 55 and he's still going to be in the Premier League scoring against Chelsea, because that is what he loves to do. And not only did he get one goal, he got two. He got the third, shirt comes off, he's celebrating in front of the Brighton end, and I'm just thinking, yeah, just call it quits. But again, it's just every single error we made is just sloppy defending at the back. I think it was Josh Achingpong there for the third one. Again, a sloppy pass, slow concentration, and it's just not good enough, guys. And again, we let ourselves down and we let Brighton walk away with 3 goals, 3 points when we raided their club. Half the backroom staff, half the players. It's not good enough, guys. It really isn't good enough. So really disappointing to take. It's not what you need. The momentum seems crushed. I wanted to at least win this game to head in with a bit of confidence into such a tough week. And we're going to have a lot to think about this week. In training, Jose's back at the bridge on Tuesday, exciting in itself, but to think about our performances, it gives me not much confidence really to face his high-flying Benfica side at the moment. So let me know how you guys feel in the comments down below. What do you think was Enzo Maresca's biggest mistake? Who stood out to you? Because I know I didn't really talk about the positive performances, but I feel like in a day where collectively we failed ourselves, it's difficult to pinpoint individuals that did well. I could shout out Caicedo, Reece James and Enzo Fernandez for their goals, but it just feels like I'm disappointed and I have high standards here. So yeah. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to the channel, like this video. Also check out the fan cams on Chelsea Fan TV fresh after the game, all of our thoughts outside Stamford Bridge. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you soon. Hope you have a good rest of your weekend.